Hey, Game Freak, look at me when I'm talking to you. You got body. Can I just preface this however long rant I'm about to go on by saying, before I get absolutely incinerated in my comment section, I just want to say I don't hate Pokemon. I don't even hate Game Freak. I definitely don't hate Nintendo. You know, they got their own shit. But can we just say that can we all just admit finally that the biggest media franchise in the world has put out nothing but bullshit for like 4 games now? Can we all agree on that? I think Palworld has shown that blatantly. I've been waiting for somebody to make a game like this so that people will like open their eyes and say they could have been doing better, right? I mean, I know I'm not crazy. I'm a gamer. I grew up in the 90s. I loved Pokemon. I had the original yellow Pokemon on the gray box dinosaur Game Boy. I loved it. I ate it up. In the 90s, as a 90s kid, there were like 4 things that were hot. There was Power Rangers, WWF, Ninja Turtles, and Pokemon. It's like a $60 billion franchise, something like that. It's bigger than Marvel. It's bigger than everything else. I think Hello Kitty is the thing that's behind it, which is wild. But they haven't made a good game. Every game that they've put out, the last one that I bought was Arceus, and it was hot garbage. And you can't even argue that it's the Switch hardware limitations, because Breath of the Wild came out 6 years before that, and it looks a million times better. Even to somebody who played on a PC or another console, Breath of the Wild looked amazing. It was serviceable, even for the most snobby graphics people. And it's not even just about graphics. They haven't tried to do anything new. I don't necessarily like that Palworld has guns, but it's fun. It's fun. Make a fun game. People will buy it. But Game Freak or Nintendo or whoever doesn't want to invest the money. They want to do what Call of Duty used to do, or FIFA, or any of these games that make the same game over and over and over, and they just want to milk you dry for as much money as they can with as little effort as possible. And the sad reality is that the longer you mess with your consumer base this way, the more of a vacuum you leave for another company like the devs that made Palworld to come in and fill that void. And now the strength of your franchise or your IP is weakened because of that. And now your consumer base can clearly see, hey, they have been not doing everything they could with this giant IP that they have. They have been giving me nothing but drivel, and now I'm not into Pokemon anymore. I'm not saying that Palworld is going to absolutely kill Pokemon. They don't have a big enough sword for that. But it's made people realize, like, oh God, we could have been playing an actual Pokemon game for the last, 6-7 years, however long. And maybe this ends up being a net positive. I don't think as a Pokemon fan, you should just be jumping off the bandwagon yet. But if they don't make a better game that's like Palworld Plus But real Pokemon, we might be like, yo, they just don't care. But it could end up being a net positive, and Palworld raises the water. Right? They say rising waters raise all ships. And now Pokemon Company says, hey, this is what people want. We need to figure out how to do it. And they have more money than Jesus. There's no reason they can't. Because I legitimately do think that Pokemon Company could make a better game than Palworld with their IP if they wanted to. And that's where I'm like, do they want to? Do they want to invest the money? Do they want to give their consumers what they can give them? But will they? Will they make that choice? It looks like Game Freak's been trying to do something different. They're trying to do the open world thing, but they're so far behind the curve. It's not even funny. They're hitting their keyboards with hammers. I don't understand. I've been wanting to make a rant like this about. I'm not even the biggest Pokemon fan in the world, but I've been wanting to make a rant about just. I would love to get back into Pokemon. Make a good game that makes me want to get back into Pokemon. If we had Palworld MMO, but it was Pokemon like official, I don't think I'm alone in saying that would be the shit. It would be fun. A lot of people would play it. You don't have the biggest media franchise on the planet for nothing. And yet you can't invest a little bit of money to make a good this generation game or even last generation game. Every game that's come out for Pokemon looks like it should have been on a DS. It just is what it is. I've decided. You can't tell me I'm wrong on that. And now the new one comes out and it's got all kinds of issues and it still looks like hot garbage. We're talking about Breath of the Wild. They can't even meet that bar. Breath of the Wild came out in 2017 and it looks exponentially better. And they wanted to make the excuse, well, it's hard to bring all these Pokemon in. You know, I understand it. 1,000 Pokemon or whatever. Can't bring them all in the game. But they want to say that's why it's taken so long to make or blah, 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 whatever, because they got to give them all these animations. Well, Palworld just blew that out of the water. What do they have? 15 people? 15 people in the dev team. And people are trying to say that they used AI, blah, blah. There's no evidence of that. And even if they did, they made a fun game. Isn't that why we buy games? These corporations that run and I don't even want to blame Game Freak because at the end of the day, it's the suits who make the decisions. They're the ones, the devs want to make a good game. At least one would hope that the devs want to make a good game. But like Ubisoft or Activision, all of these big companies, nobody wants to try anything new. And that's why a lot of indie games right now are king, because these small indie devs are trying to do new stuff. And people are realizing, I'm not playing Assassin's Creed because it's a new fun game, or I'm not playing this new Destiny DLC because it's new and fun. I'm playing it because they're selling it to me. And I have these expectations that this big company surely is going to make something fantastic like they used to in the past. None of these corporations became giant, humongous, bloated companies because they started out making shit games. But that's where they're all going. Nobody wants to try anything new. And that's the problem. They're more worried about what the bottom line looks like because they have shareholders than they are what the customers think. Look at Palworld. They admittedly have less people to feed, right? They have less devs, blah, blah, blah. So they don't have to make as much money because every piece of the pie goes to less people, so it's bigger. I understand that. I'm not blind to that. But why do you have so many people? because you're trying to hit some insane bar graphically or whatever. I know I ran about Pokemon's graphics, but I mean, if you can't even hit an almost 10-year-old game's graphics, that's when I have a problem. Because you have games like BattleBit that got extremely popular, and it doesn't have graphics. I mean, you have 18 pixels for the whole screen. You know what I mean? I'm being hyperbolic, but it's not all about graphics. But they're not trying to do new stuff. They're not trying to make a game that's like, hey, let's make something fresh, something new, something people will like, whatever. They're like, hey, it's the same thing in media in general. Movies, uh, movies are not what they used to be too a lot of the times because nobody wants to try anything new. They say, hey, this is what makes money. This is what we're going to make, whether people will like it or not. There's no microtransactions. Any game I see that's a single player game that has microtransactions, I'm instantly out. Instantly. Now, if it's a free game like Halo Infinite or even Fortnite, something like that, they got microtransactions, there's no pay to win. Okay, do your thing, boo-boo, right? Make your money. You gotta, I'm not naive enough to know that you don't have to pay the people who make the game. I get it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Loot boxes, different story, but battle passes and cosmetics and things like that, I get it. But in a single player game, it's ludicrous. Anyways, I've been ranting for a while, but that's my thing. These companies are more worried about their profits than they are about their consumer base, and it's starting to show. People are coming in to fill the voids. Will they make the choice to change? And Pokemon is the new biggest example. I've been talking about this for years. I'm not just making this video because Palworld is hot right now. If anything, I probably missed that first 3-4 days. This is a rant that's been inside of me for years because, like I said, I'd love to get back into Pokemon, but I have no intention of buying Scarlet Violet. I have no intention of buying the next game unless they do something different. Do something fun. Do something that your consumers want. They're the ones that pay your bills. The hubris of these companies drives me insane.